I just feel like, well, first of all, I always believe in God's timing. So I know that this was God's timing for us to have a baby. It's been amazing. His timing's perfect. But also, as I'm looking back on all these different things that I was trying, gluten-free, dairy-free, vegan, GAPS diet, keto, intermittent fasting, juicing, cleansing, grape fast, water fast, celery juice, liver cleanses, Whole30, Pro-metabolic, my body didn't have the things that I needed. Hello. So a while ago, I made a couple videos about my family on the GAPS diet and how that was for all of us, but specifically for my son, who's been diagnosed with autism. I just kind of wanted to give an update. I was reading through the comments, which were so sweet to those videos, and people were asking for an update. So I wanted to not only update, but I wanted to go back and just share with people all the different things that I have tried eating wise, physically, to try to feel better. And it's ridiculous looking back on this. I kind of made some notes and color coded some things because I wanted to see time frames of how long I had tried these different things. This is crazy, but I know so many other women have gone through this, do this, like, you know, what's going to make me feel better? How am I going to heal? And they just jump from thing to thing to thing to thing. And I have definitely done that. And I'm like, I'll share with you at the end, like what I'm doing now and like what my thoughts are, but I've tried everything and I just want to share my experience with it. And I don't know, you know, what's best, but I can tell you what happened to me when I tried these different things. So I would say the majority of my life, I've just been on like the standard American diet, you know, fast food, boxed food, regular, you know, just regular junk food. That was fine for a while. You know, I was young, I was healthy, I never got sick, I felt really good. Eating wasn't that big a deal. I ate when I was hungry and I didn't think about the fact that I didn't feel good because I would just drink a lot, which is terrible. But so I was kind of growing out of the college phase, working a full-time job and realizing, hey, I don't feel so good. I don't feel like I should. I don't feel energized. I don't feel I don't feel like I have a lot of energy for life. So it was about the time that I got married that I began to see something was wrong. I didn't do anything about it. I just thought, hey, this really sucks to feel this way. But it wasn't until my husband and I decided to adopt two little ones. So we had our first baby, Isabel, and then 6 months later, God called us to adopt Ben and Ava, who were in our family through foster care. They weren't related to us, and we knew that they were supposed to be in our family. So we were really excited. We had 6 months from the time Isabel was 6 months old till she turned 1 to go through foster care classes. And so for 6 months, we were able to do foster care classes, you know, spend some one-on-one time with Isabel and really wrap our minds around adopting. We knew Ben had that autism diagnosis, and so I dove into the internet and found all that there is to know about healing autism. Because, you know, at first I was just like, you know, what is autism? I don't know. What is it like? What are people like with autism? I had no idea. And so I stumbled on the site, Talk About Healing Autism Now, which is a great site for parents with kids with autism. They taught me so much, but they kept talking about this gluten-free diet and the gluten-free dairy-free diet. And there was so many other ones that I didn't even know I had no schema for all of this like diet world, you know, restriction diet. You know, there was the AIP and the specific carbohydrate. And I was just like, this is so much. It's overwhelming. We decided that once they came and lived with us, that we would do gluten-free. We were crazy. That's probably not what you're supposed to do when you bring two little ones into your house. You should probably comfort them a little bit instead of taking away all the gluten. But they moved in September 1st and we decided in October to go gluten-free. So we went gluten-free. So the reason I kind of dove into this, what gave me like a kick in the pants to actually do something about the way that I was eating and just not be okay with the status quo of the standard American diet was really Ben's diagnosis. It wasn't enough that I didn't feel good. It was on this website on Talk About Healing Autism Now. I read all these testimonies about how kids just healed with all these different protocols, which there's so many of them. So we went gluten-free. Our whole family did. I felt amazing. I had a lot less bloating. I had more energy. It was great. I'm going to go through all of the different things that I have tried, and I want to just let you know about what I thought about each of them. So gluten-free was amazing. So we did that for 3 months, and then because we wanted to kind of transition slowly, and then in January, after Christmas, after the holidays, we added in dairy-free. This took a little bit of adjusting, about a week, but then after that, we felt amazing. We felt really good. The coolest thing about gluten-free or dairy-free, which I don't actually agree with anymore, was I lost so much of my neck. I really got a jawline. But I think the majority of that was I was just losing a lot of weight going dairy-free. I feel like I've changed my opinion about that a little bit. So we went gluten dairy-free for about 3 months. And then, I'm researching gluten-free, dairy-free recipes. There's just a lot of vegan stuff out there. So I don't know why we jumped into being vegans. I have no idea. Maybe because all the rest of the people on the internet were doing it. So I'm like, hey, let's try this out. So we decided, hey, let's try to be vegan. And so we did. And, I found awesome recipes and we loved it. And it was really good. And we were feeling really good at the time. So we started that in April. And then in May, we weren't even trying to sell our house. We knew we needed to do something because we were only in a 2-bedroom and we had no backyard. And so we're like, we know God wants us to be somewhere, we don't know where. So anyway, the realtor called us out of the blue one day to the year, like 1 year after the same day that we got the call about Ben and Ava. So we're like, oh my goodness, this is God's timing. And the realtor had somebody that probably wanted to buy our house. So we're like, okay, sure, we'll show it to them, see what happens. So we sold it to them and we didn't have a place to live. We moved into my in-laws' house, into their basement, and it was amazing. It was an amazing time, but it was also very stressful just because we just adopted kids. I'm staying home with them. It's amazing how God knew that I needed other people at home and in my life when I had 3 kids at home. They were all home for the summer, and I'd never had this many kids before. I'd never had this kids at home all at once, and especially with special needs. So it was really, God picked us up and moved us where he needed us to be at the time. And it was really good, but it was also really, really stressful. So we lived there for about 6 months. 6 months later, we got our own place, and then we went back to eating kind of regular food. Now, as I'm talking through all of this, Ben the whole time has been, except for 1 month randomly a couple of years ago, has been gluten dairy free. So when I talk about we, I'm talking about me. Once in a while with the GAPS diet, the kids jumped on board, but mostly this is just me, sometimes Aaron. So then we were just eating regular food, and this is when I just broke down. It was not a good time in my life. Basically, I had just come off of having Isabel, adopting 2 kids with special needs, moving in with my in-laws, and the whole in there cutting gluten, dairy, and being vegan. I was exhausted. I don't know if it was adrenal fatigue. I was burnt out. I was done. It was really hard to function in that time, but I didn't do anything about it. I was just, we were just eating regular food, and we did that for a long time, and we were happy. And then we moved into this house that we're still in that we love so much. When we moved here in May, and we were planning on homeschooling in August. But instead of jumping into schoolwork, we were going to jump into the GAPS diet. So I've got lots of videos on that, very specific how everything went. But overall, the GAPS diet was great. I'm so glad we did it. It was so hard. It was very intense, but Ben still poops to this day, which is just, it's a miracle. And I feel like the GAPS diet really nailed down that I can do this with food. I can do hard things. I can eat we can change our trajectory based on what we eat. We can feel better with what we eat. So I was feeling good. Everybody was feeling good, but it was just not sustainable. So I think it was at about the 3-month mark. We just kind of cheated so much. We cheated our way out of it kind of thing. It wasn't really a on-purpose decision until we were just cheating so much. I'm like, we're just not even eating this food anymore, And I was on the internet where I like to be, and I was reading, all about the keto, all about intermittent fasting. And so Aaron and I transitioned into that as the kids went back to the regular food. And at this point in my life, this was this was probably the lowest point of eating different things. I felt good in the morning before I had any food, during the intermittent fast, and then once I ate, I was just I was exhausted. I was done. I had no energy. I didn't gain any weight, but I wasn't nourishing myself. So I knew something was off with that diet. That was not good. That was not good for me. I know it works for lots of people, but not for me. So we did keto for about 6 months, and then I'm just I'm feeling like poop. I feel terrible. So I jumped into a lot of juicing and cleansing. I don't know if anybody's heard of Robert Morris, not the pastor. He's a great pastor out of Texas, but Robert Morris, like this old guy that talks about eating fruit a lot and using fruit to heal. And I just felt like something was wrong with me. And I know that when I tell that to people, they're like, nothing's wrong with you. You're fine. But inside I knew, like, I don't feel good. I don't have energy. I don't feel good. I don't feel as vibrant and awake and alive as I should feel. And so I knew that I had some healing to do. And so I jumped into a lot of juicing, a lot of cleansing. I did during that period a 10-day grape fast. And then I did later a 10-day water fast. And I can tell you, I felt really good during this time. Lots of sugar. It wasn't like low sugar. So I was feeling really good with all the sugars. But that 10-day water fast, like, I don't know what happened. I feel like that 10-day water fast actually healed some parts of it. I don't know how to explain it. I just felt way clearer afterwards, way better. I think it really cleansed my liver. Like, I think it really helped. So I did that. And then I jumped into Medical Medium. So if you've not heard of him, he has like all those books, Medical Medium. He does the celery juice, which I was juicing celery, feels so good. Love celery juice. I haven't done it in a long time, but that just felt really good. And then I did a couple liver cleanses, but he's got a lot of good books like the Liver Detox Guide, Cleanse to Heal, a lot of really great things, which I think that healed other parts of me, you know, like my liver. And each of these things that I would jump into, I felt like God was leading me to them. So as I'm looking at my notes and my lists of like, oh yeah, God led me here, God led me here, God led me here, God led me here. And I really do feel like he brought me, you know, I feel like he brought me to Robert Morris, to the Medical Medium, to the GAPS diet, you know, to being gluten-free, to being vegan, even if it's just to be like, oh yeah, that doesn't work for me. We did Medical Medium for a little bit, juicing celery juice, just a lot of juice, really like healing foods, lots of vegetables, lots of fruit. So I was feeling good with that, but I was just like, that's not sustainable. That's not living. That's not life. Like, I don't want to be on these cleanses. I really wanted to find a way of eating that I could nourish myself, feed myself, that I could do every day, that I didn't have to be like, oh, I'm on a cleanse today, I can't eat that. Or, you know, let me like take my 10. Sometimes I would go to work and I'd have to pack like all of these juices. And I'm like, what am I doing to myself? This is not sustainable. For us to have to juice for an hour in the morning for me to leave the house, like, this is ridiculous. So even though I felt really good and I loved that, I was so sick of it. So January of 2020, Erin and I did Whole30 together. I would love to share more about like my drinking journey, but we decided to stop drinking. Like, we go in bits and spurts of like no drinking, lots of drinking, some drinking kind of thing, no drinking. So we decided to stop drinking January 2020 and do Whole30. And then February 1st, we did what everybody does after Whole30, and we just ate all the food. So we were doing regular food for several months after that. Then COVID happened and I started drinking a lot of more wine than I had before. So not a great time. I was just done with the juicing and the cleansing and the fasting and the intermittent fasting and the keto and like counting carbs and macros. And I'm just like, I am so tired of all of this. I don't feel good. I don't have energy. It's not working. So I gave up, like completely gave up for a little bit in there, just like ate regular food, you know, not as junky as I was before, but sometimes it was junk food. And then it was around June 2020, I was finding these people on the internet who I feel like God uses people on the internet all the time about like pro-metabolic eating. So I really want to link below some of these resources that I stumbled upon that I feel. So as you can see, all of the time that I've been eating pro-metabolic, it has felt good. You know, when I look at these different colors and like how some are short and some are long, this has felt the best to me. This has been sustainable. It's not a diet. I'm just trying to nourish my body with good things and not eat so many other things. So the way I actually found out about pro-metabolic eating was this girl I follow on Instagram, Heather Rest. She was posting a little bit. Somebody asked her like, oh, do you eat almonds? And she's like, no, I try to stay away from them because of the PUFAs. And I'm like, she doesn't eat almonds? Like, almonds are health food. Who doesn't eat almonds? We drink almond milk every day. And so I kind of looked into this and I was like, because if you follow Heather Rest, like, everything she says on point. She's amazing. I was like, okay, I'll take a look into it. And it just seemed so right. It was about your body needs energy every day. Your body needs extra energy when you're stressed. Your body needs extra energy when you exercise. Your body needs extra energy if you're sick. So I started doing some of this stuff slowly, like taking beef liver pills, eating eggs again, getting rid of the almond milk, drinking regular milk. Like, that's crazy. I haven't drank regular milk since like 2016. It's crazy. Eating butter, eating fruit, eating roots, lots of fruit and roots and meat and beef and eggs and so much good food. I think they mostly stay away from grains. Some people have sourdough. I definitely eat sourdough, and I'm still eating grains, but I'm just implementing these other things. So I was just feeling really good about what I was eating. I was enjoying what I was eating. I had energy from what I was eating. They talk about balancing your blood sugar and eating often enough so that you don't have those crashes. And it just felt really good, and it felt really sustainable, and I still do it, and it feels amazing. So I started that kind of in June 2020. Also around this time, so like this is all the physical stuff, but also around this time I start doing like inner healing sessions weekly. I would love to talk about that sometime because that has made more of a difference than changing my diet ever has in my life. So it's amazing. I've been eating this way since June of 2020. And so we had Isabel in 2015. And since about 2016, even though Ben and Ava moved in, we adopted them, like they were 4 and 5 and we like wanted a bigger family. So we have been trying to have a baby for like 5 years now. It wasn't until March of 2021 that I found out I was pregnant. I just feel like, well, first of all, I always believe in God's timing. So I know that this was God's timing for us to have a baby. It's been amazing. His timing's perfect. But also, as I'm looking back on all these different things that I was trying, gluten-free, dairy-free, vegan, GAPS diet, keto, intermittent fasting, juicing, cleansing, grape fast, water fast, celery juice, liver cleanses, Whole30, Pro-metabolic, my body didn't have the things that I needed. So actually, during about the medical medium time, I actually gained a lot of weight. I probably gained 20 pounds. I have like a weight gain video from a while ago, but I gained weight and I felt good. Like the medical medium was really when I began to get my energy back because I was eating carbohydrates and I was eating often where my blood sugar wasn't crashing, but I was getting my energy back and it felt really, really good. But I also gained about 25 pounds. I think my body needed it. I think my body, after being vegan, which I would not do again, it was not a good fit for me. And I do believe that God has given us all of this food to eat, and all of the different ones have different nutrients in it, and we need some of all of them. So when you're cutting out dairy and meat, like that, those are the nutrient dense foods that we need. I just feel like I really went through a time of like nutrient deficiencies. First of all, like drinking so much really trashes your body. And your body has to work really hard to heal, and it uses a lot of nutrients. So I was already nutrient deficient. Then I stopped eating dairy and decided to become a vegan. So there I was also just losing tons of nutrients. And then keto was just not a good fit for me. Again, like my liver was having to work so hard. Your body needs carbohydrates. Like I needed carbohydrates. So I just feel like this time of healing with the medical medium, the water fast, and the pro-metabolic eating for so long has really given me the nutrients that I need to survive every day. You know, your body is here for survival, for like to live. And when it doesn't have all the building blocks that it needs, you're going to be tired, you're going to be sluggish, you're going to be grouchy, you're going to be hangry. I was hangry all the time, but my stomach wasn't telling me that I was hungry. I was just grouchy. And so I feel lots better with all these carbohydrates. So yeah, so I gained about like 25 pounds in that healing period. Fallon, who I'll link below, calls them healing pounds. And she's dealing with that too. Like she's gained weight, but she's healing her body. So I gained about 25 pounds, and then I got pregnant. And then I gained another 60 pounds. So that's great. I am 8 weeks postpartum. Olive is taking a nap in the bathroom because it's warm and there's a fan in there. She lays in her little bouncer. It's just amazing God's timing and just how he led me on different Like, this really has been a healing journey for food, and it's just so interesting. Now, obviously, I have weight to lose, and I don't feel depressed about it. I don't feel anxious about it. I just know that it needs to happen, and I know what I need to do. I just need to eat less, eat fewer carbs, balance my blood sugar, work out, keep breastfeeding, you know, like those things. But that's not my focus right now. My focus right now is nourishing myself enough so that I have enough to give and enough to exclusively breastfeed Olive. I can lose weight after that, but right now it's really about me nourishing her and doing what God has designed my body to do and her body to do. I don't know, it's exciting. It's just exciting looking back at 5 years of just crazy eating and knowing that finally in the last year I've kind of settled into something that feels good, that feels sustainable, that feels nourishing, where I have energy to be with my kids and I'm not as hangry, I'm not as grouchy. So it just feels really good.